night. Monday. Brand new week. Hope you all have a wonderful week or a wonderful start to your week, rather, and also a wonderful weekend that passed. But nonetheless, thank you all for joining us here as we dive into another adventurous topic dealing with relationships and romance. What is that? The 7 steps to save your relationship from the roommate syndrome. What is that? We're going to dive into the roommate syndrome. I'm pretty sure you all have an idea about what that is or may have experienced it from your past or maybe going through it currently. It's a cold and isolated situation, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah. But thank you all for joining us, Instagram viewers, YouTube, Facebook viewers. Thank you all as we approach, I think, 7,000 viewers on Instagram,
Followers.
up followers, 7,000 followers, viewers, subscribers, all of the above. And then also to, I think, 370 subscribers on YouTube. Thank you and welcome. And let's start.
Yeah. So this was inspired by a great question. We're going to go ahead and pull this up on our screen while you check our mics. We sounding good?
Yep.
Good to go. All right. So pretty quick question, but a great question nonetheless. It said, subject perspective. I find myself viewing my wife as a friend that I live with instead of a wife. I am not sure how romantic we have ever actually been, but 10 years into the marriage, it feels more like good friends or familiar relationship. I understand looks fade and yada, 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 but it feels uneasy sometimes to view my spouse this way. So that was the question. I'm assuming that that's more of a like a question of like, so what do you do about it? Yeah, yep, it's a good topic question. Yeah, so thank you for submitting this, and I think it's great to dig on too because we haven't actually talked about anything like this before.
I mean, I think no, we talked about stuff like this. I think it's more so building intimacy in the relationship.
Oh,
now they're together for 10 years. They know what makes each other tick, their triggers and things like that. But also, do they know their love language and things that they enjoy to do?
Yeah,
I would say just rekindled all of that. That's all you really pretty much have to do.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
And we'll give you lots of tips. We're going to dig on into some tips on how to do this. But in particular, for those who may not know, the roommate syndrome is a term used to describe a relationship that, spouses have pretty much lost that romantic connection and it starts to feel more like, the roommates than lovers, right? So this is actually something that you would see more so, like you were saying, with those 10-year long-term relationships, because, these are some things that can happen if you often neglect some parts of your relationship or fail to do the maintenance that's required on any good thing that you have. You can't just, you wouldn't let your car go without doing any maintenance, and you certainly should not let your relationship do that. So here are just some general signs, though, of, that a couple is probably experiencing the roommate syndrome. And we're also going to dig into, I guess, why a husband would start to look at his wife more like a roommate. So these are some things to look out for. And then certainly some reasons why this may happen before we dig into our solutions for tonight. So the first one, of course, they no longer spend time together or go on dates. Classic simple symptom of roommate syndrome. Certainly don't want that.
Yep, and they don't talk about their feelings or share their dreams and goals.
Right. Or they have different interests and they no longer do things together.
Next, they feel more like friends or roommates than lovers.
Yeah, the classic sign that he said, my wife is starting to feel more like my friend, like, or in particular, that they always not really done so much of the romanticizing part. And one of the key elements of that is that you're no longer physically intimate. So that's a classic symptom of, that whole roommate syndrome that you want to watch out for.
So if you're experiencing the roommate syndrome, is it important to address the underlying issues that are causing it? Using this man's situation, let's go over some reasons why a husband might start to view his wife as a friend or roommate instead of a wife.
Mm-hmm.
So number one is a lack of intimacy, like I spoke on in the beginning. So if a husband and a wife are not intimate with each other, it can be difficult to maintain a romantic connection. So this can lead the husband to view his wife more as a friend than or a roommate than a lover
Right.
or a wife.
Yeah. Lack of intimacy. That's a big one. We'll dig all into our solutions in a bit, but just to address these underlying issues. So for this guy in particular, when you or any viewer, as you're watching, try to make note of those key underlying issues, because we always say you got to address the root cause of a situation, not so much, just try to band-aid it, but first really dig deep and figure out, why is this happening? Another one is communication problems. So if a husband and a wife are not able to communicate effectively, this can make it extremely hard for you to get your needs and wants met, because you're probably going to have some misunderstandings, some resentment, just overall not even speaking to each other. So this can really make it difficult to feel close to your spouse. And yeah, you could start to view them as that roommate that, you just pass on by.
Yep. And then also two different expectations. So if the husband and wife have different expectations for their marriage, it can lead to disappointment and frustration.
Yeah.
So this can make it difficult to feel connected to each other and can lead to viewing each other as friends or roommates.
Yeah, those expectations. And believe it or not, that's even something that you have to adjust as your years go on. So maybe they're 10 years into the marriage. Maybe the expectations that they had for each other in the beginning are no longer the same like you have now. That's why it's important to, keep continuously check in with each other and do those relationship temperature checks that we often talk about, because they're really important to help you be able to mitigate the changes that you're going through and, keep up with them so that they don't start causing, problems.
And then the next one is loss of attraction. I think he was hinting at this one. So if the husband no longer finds his wife attractive, vice versa, it can be difficult to view him or her as a romantic partner.
Yeah.
This can lead them to view each other more as friends or roommates.
Yeah, attraction.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're right, because I understand that, what he says, I understand that looks fade. Yeah, yada, yada, yada. That I think a lot of that too is being mindful of your own upkeep and not kind of just letting yourself go when you're getting into those relationships, getting content in a way.
Yeah, I mean, but it's just that you are attracted to what you're attracted to also as well.
Yeah.
So it's not fair in a relationship that you meet someone and all of a sudden they blow up. And you know what I mean? Gain weight and things like that, because that wasn't the first person, the person that you was attracted to. But above all, love do keep you all together. But you have to think of it this way: it is fair to your spouse for you to maintain your weight and your maintain your weight, your health.
Yeah.
And especially if you didn't meet your spouse this way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
maybe even like haircuts or like taking care of yourself, staying neat and clean and, doing those things, maybe smelling good, not neglecting those things of really what made probably yourself really attractive to your spouse, not letting go of that. So,
right.
That's just another underlying issue.
Another one is personal issues. The husband may be struggling with personal issues such as depression or addiction that can affect their ability to connect with their wife. Mm-hmm. So this can make it difficult to view her as a romantic partner and can lead to viewing her more as a friend or roommate.
Yeah, those life changes, things that just happen,
Health.
Yeah, health. That's a good one. Yeah.
Erectile dysfunction, things like that.
Mm-hmm, there's
too much
so
estrogen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what are you eating? Yeah, are you getting enough sleep? Little things like that. Not neglecting the self-care aspect of things, because, if you aren't feeling like yourself, it will really make it hard for you to even connect with your spouse, because, just not feeling up to it. So, yeah. It's also, though, important to remember that it can be a normal phase to not feel as romantic towards your spouse, especially after you've been together for a long time, possibly or usually because of the initial excitement of the relationship, dying down, and it fades over time. We always talk about it, that honeymoon phase, it changes over time, especially when you've been together for a decade. We understand that, but it's really important to understand that love, and really a marriage in particular, is not just about romance, right? It's really about friendship. It's about that companionship, and most importantly, the commitment and the dedication to your relationship. So even if you get to that point in your relationship where you're feeling like, hey, we're starting to slack on the romantic aspects of our relationship, that's when you're supposed to notice that, hey, it's time to really dig in deep and start to make some changes that can help get you back on the right track. Because I would say that even though we have been together over 10 years coming up in November, I still look at you the same. I never looked at you as just a friend. You know what I mean? Like the romantic feelings, we've always made it a good point to keep that love and connection in an intimate way going. And that's really, really important throughout your relationship. So never neglect those. But let's dig on into these steps. Huh?
Yep, 7 steps to help provide a good starting point to save your relationship from the roommate syndrome.
Yes.
So number 1, talk to each other, communicate. The first step is to talk to each other about what is going on in your relationship. So be honest about how you are feeling and why you think your relationship is becoming more like a roommate situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely have those talks. That's the most obvious one, but you got to do it.
We left out one thing also too, infidelity. So infidelity is a big one, because the other person may be feeling isolated and trying to keep you at bay on purpose. So that can also create the feeling of roommate syndrome.
Yeah.
Infidelity. So don't forget that one. So that leads me to talk to each other, talk about what's going on, communicate, get clear answers, get clarity, get closure on what the issues are.
Yeah.
So you and your partner should also talk about what you miss about each other and what you would like to do more together.
Yeah. You got to talk about what you need, what you want, what you desire, and just really, like you said, being honest about all of that. That could be a difficult conversation too, if you're really talking about, something like infidelity being the underlying issue. Overall, though, as for this guy, he has really got to go to your wife and say, hey, this is what I think, we're going through at this moment in time, so that we can brainstorm together. What is the reason? How did y'all get here? And then work towards, making the most out of those changes and figuring out what you need to do to get you back on the right track. Of course, if you're struggling to communicate, go to couples therapy, couples counseling, read books, or you can schedule a consultation with us. We're always available for that. Or you can watch some of our other videos. We got lots of videos on communication.
Like we got over 200 some videos.
Yeah, we got lots of videos. So it's plenty of stuff that you can dig on in and just sit back and together really try to do this and figure out, how you can get your communication skills better if you are, struggling having this conversation. Yeah.
Oh, one thing I wanted to do too, I'm sorry, I digress. Shout outs to the Let's Rap podcast, as we had a good Friday with them talking about relationships, giving people examples of different type of relationships, and overall just a positive experience with that video that we did and interviewed those people. So when you all get a chance, check out that video as well. And then also to check out the Let's Rap podcast, their Instagram and their YouTube.
Yeah. Yeah, we're sorry. We couldn't figure out a way to make this friendly for our Instagram viewers as well. And that was one thing that we were the whole time trying to figure out with this, because it was on YouTube, how we can integrate it. And that kind of made us man, we really got to figure this out. So I think our next one, we have another collaboration coming up. We'll probably do this on Instagram and then screencast it for YouTube. Yeah.
Because it won't work the other way.
Yeah, it won't. You're right. It will not work the other way. And that's something that, when you want to pull your hair out, especially when you're trying to do things and make it, look good for you guys, because we really do this for you guys. So we want you all to be able to enjoy all the different conversations we have. But no fear, we're going to keep putting out shorts that we did on the longer stream. So we're going to keep breaking them down so that you can get some, information, even if you don't have the time to check out the live stream. So yeah.
Yep. And then number 2, back on topic, some more tips. Then make sure to spend dedicated time together.
Yeah.
So it's easy to let your relationship slide when you're both busy. Of course, you have a lot of children, you have a lot of work,
Mhm.
maybe you're in school, but it's important to make time for each other to connect, even if it's just a few hours or a few minutes or what have you.
Yeah. Dedicated
Yeah,
time though. Yeah.
you can schedule a weekly date night, even if it's just a walk around the block or a talk.
Mhm.
Now, for couples, especially new couples transitioning to becoming parents, you may find this time very hard because you can't
Mhm.
do the things that you all wanted to do, and
Yeah.
the relationship dynamic has obviously changed. That you have to
Yeah.
care for a younger baby or a younger child or what have you. Relationships are never ever about you. It's never ever is about you. It's about your service to other people and them serving you. So that is the whole understanding about all of this. And scheduling time, yes, is a realistic thing,
Yeah.
and it's a grown and mature thing. So
Yeah.
that's what a
Yeah.
thing that people don't realize about getting into a relationship and having children, or just being in a relationship altogether, where your significant other can't dedicate all of their time to you.
Yeah.
So just be mindful of that these type of changes naturally have to occur in order for you all to make it.
Yeah, he didn't mention that they had kids or anything, but it makes me wonder. 10 years into a relationship, you would wonder if they had kids or anything like that, and that in particular is a huge thing to change, especially if you don't have babysitters. We struggle with that. So we struggled with that. So just figuring out, how do we dedicate this time and getting in, even if it meant we would do things like when soon we put the kids to bed, just sitting down and doing a card game together. You remember, like just for us to talk, especially with the new babies and stuff when we first started. So just really doing things that would, really make you all intentional about your time together. So, put your phones away, don't be on your laptop, don't, have any of the distractions, just really be able to focus on each other. Even if it's, maybe watching a movie afterwards, talk about it, or, before coming figuring out why you're watching the movie together. I don't know. Just having that dedicated conversation time, however that would look for you guys. It's always going to look different for every couple. So just really, please don't be scary about scheduling time, then thinking that, oh, that's not a good thing to do. It really is. Some people even need to schedule in physical intimacy, because that's our next point. You got to be physically intimate with each other. You have to make that time for that, even if it means scheduling it in. You don't go 3 or 4 days without doing anything with each other. You have to make sure to get that time. Physical intimacy is important for a romantic relationship, and in particular, that's the main way you can differentiate that roommate from your wife or your husband. You don't sleep, you want to make sure to have that intimacy, because you wouldn't sleep with your roommate. So don't kind of put your wife or your husband in that box, pretty much. Yeah.
And then talk to your partner about what you need and your wants in terms of physical touch,
Yeah.
and be open to feedback. So if your partner tells you that they like or don't like something, so be open to that feedback.
Right. Yeah. What would that look like? Have those conversations. How long are you going to, put those boundaries on not having sex? Like, if we all understand you get busy. Why is our internet? Sorry, our internet is acting crazy right now, y'all. All right, we're all good. Anyways, but making sure to, with that physical intimacy, making sure that you're talking about, your boundaries. How long are you going to go without having sex with each other before you say, all right, it's time to make sure we check in with each other and, do those things with each other, not just letting it go. That's an important conversation to have, especially in terms of sex drive. If your sex drives are different, trying to find that good old middle ground. And if you're, feeling stuck in a rut, you making sure to do those things is going to help to spice up that relationship, especially those long-term relationships. Try new things. This can be like new positions, new toys, new activities, whatever. Just find ways to make it playful and spontaneous. What was going to say?
Nothing.
Ah.
That's all.
Yeah. This could also, some other things, like, giving each other massage, kissing, holding hands at random moments, touching, coming up on each other when you're doing other things. You may be a surprise, just little ways of building up that
Intimacy.
Yeah, that intimacy that will make you want to do something later on, you know.
Send each other notes, text messages
Mm-hmm.
about physical
Yep.
intimacy, sex, and all of that throughout
Yeah.
the day.
Yeah, you got to do that. Don't think that somebody else is going to do this for you in order to get your relationship going. You really have to do these things for yourself, regardless of how long you guys have been together, for sure.
Create romantic atmospheres that help set the mood.
Yeah.
Lighting candles, playing soft music or essential oils,
Yeah.
especially for those massages.
Yeah. Yeah.
Run bath water,
Yeah.
rose petals, candies, all
Yeah.
of those things. You know what it is. You know what time it is.
Right. Do those things. You have to. You really, really have to. That is what I always say when it comes to the covenant of marriage, because marriage is more than it's not just a contract. It's a covenant that you've made with God. And in particular, when God wants the man and the woman to come together, what he means, the energy means to know each other. So you know each other in that way of physical intimacy that you shouldn't know with anybody else. So that is how you keep that bond strong and really, really make time for that. Schedule it in if you need to. All right. Next is finding activities that, you both enjoy to do together besides, just sex, of course. That's a great activity to do together. But in particular, you want to continue to create those shared experiences with each other. This is really going to help you to bond and connect on a deeper level and keep that, romance up and going. So it's a little more than just friends, but also having that friendly connection with each other.
Yep. So these experiences can be anything from going on dates, volunteering together, traveling together, or trying new hobbies together.
Yeah.
You can go on a picnic, hiking.
Yeah.
Long car trip, road trip. So when you do these things, you get to learn more about your spouse, their interests, their likes and dislikes.
Yeah.
So this can help you to appreciate each other more and to develop deeper understanding for each other.
Yeah, it should help spark some conversation. It should get you talking. Really, maybe even some things. Every day you're going to find out something new about your spouse, or at least you should look to find out something, whether that's even just a simple conversation about something that happened in their day, or, something that you experienced new within this lifetime that you're spending together. So really take that time to appreciate each other and understand each other more. And that is best done through different experiences. You can often find out a whole bunch of new things about your spouse, and that's going to help deepen that bond for sure.
Doing things can help you to relax. So doing these things together can help you to relax and have fun together, which can help to take the spark and bring that back into the relationship.
Yeah, especially if it's stagnant, for sure.
And this will help you to build trust with your partner again, and because you are relying on each other and supporting each other. So which leads us to our next point of being supportive.
Yeah.
So there are many specific ways to be supportive of your spouse. So here are a few ideas that we can share with you all.
Yes. Before we hop on in, we got to thank stock.
No, it really was this.
Okay. That's funny. But some ways that you all can be supportive with each other. Of course, these are, we've had lots of videos on this as well, but some general things that all relationships need that really show that you're supportive. One, of course, be there emotionally for each other. Let your spouse know that, hey, I'm there for you. I care about you, especially when you're going through things. You want to listen to them with no judgment. Offer your support in any way that this looks. Maybe it's like helping them to problem solve, or maybe just to simply vent, or be there for them, especially if they're going through a difficult moment. Just that really helps them know that you're there for them and you care about them.
Yeah, but then be helpful around the house, of course. So take on some of the additional chores, talk to your spouse, and see what they may need from you.
Yeah.
This will help up to free up time so you all can spend time together.
Yeah.
So this could include cooking, cleaning, laundry, cleaning the bathrooms, anything.
Yeah.
Anything else that you may need done. But make sure to consult with your wife first.
Well, that's if she does all of that anyway. But I think in particular, it just really helps to free up, like you said, free up that time, that energy, especially if your husband or wife, because men do chores too, right? So especially if one of y'all are constantly, working and you're tired, you get off work, you have to do some things. If you can notice how little ways you can help pick up the slack, maybe free up some energy for them, that's more likely to get, some energy saved for you at night, especially if you guys are looking to bond with each other or schedule in that hanky panky time. You want to have the energy to do so. So look at ways that you can contribute to that. It's really going to be helpful in the long run. And then remember, you're a team, right? So making sure to be willing to pick up the slack wherever your teammate may fall a little bit, behind. If you notice life issues, kind of, we talked about those personal issues in the beginning. If you notice they're going through maybe some depression or stressed out because of work, whatever the case may be okay with stepping up and being like, hey, I'm gonna, help you out a little bit here in whatever way I can, so that then we can still make sure to make that time for each other and have the energy to do so.
Yep, and of course, be a good listener,
Yeah.
good active listener. So when
Yeah.
your spouse is talking to you, really listen to them and what they are saying.
Yeah.
So don't interrupt them. Don't try to fix their problems. Just just listen. Pretty much. Was it a sounding board or whatever?
Yeah. Yeah. People underestimate how I really think a good listener is probably maybe, I don't know, it's probably about hand in hand on, or maybe more when it comes to communicating. If you can be a good listener, you're more likely to be able to be a better communicator versus if you're just good with words. If you're not really listening to what, your spouse is saying and actually taking that in for better understanding, I think your communication is going to be a little, lack. So really taking that time to listen to each other, understand each other, because everyone goes through difficult times. It's hard times, good times too, but you want to be sure that you're, patient with your spouse and you're offering them that sounding board, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Be understanding.
Yeah.
Of course. Oh, you already did. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
So be forgiving.
Yeah.
So everyone makes mistakes. So if your spouse does something to hurt you, be willing to forgive them.
Yeah. Yeah. That'll help with communication overall. Especially if you're dealing with resentment or that infidelity thing you hit on earlier, those serious issues that you may have within your relationship. Being forgiven will not only help, your overall dynamic of your relationship, but it'll also help take some stress off of you if it's not too much of something you may need a third party to help you work through. Those little blows are certainly easier to kind of let go and move on so that you can grow overall as a teammate.
And be positive. So try to be positive and upbeat around your spouse. So this will help them to feel better and more supported.
Yeah. And of course, be respectful. We always talk about that, treating your spouse with respect. Even when you disagree with each other, that's really going to show that, you care about each other and you're willing to treat them right, even if, you're angry with each other or upset with each other. So, yeah.
And be honest. Be honest with your spouse about your feelings and your expectations.
And be willing to compromise.
Right.
Especially when you're talking about, things that you need out of your relationship. If your relationship dynamic has changed over time, 10 years in, like we said, things can look a little different. You want to be honest, but you also want to be willing to make some compromises, make some changes if, things are a little hard for y'all to, still keep up with, especially when you introduce like kids into the timeline and stuff like that. Sometimes it's really hard to keep doing the same things you were once doing, but being able to compromise and saying, hey, this is how we can together still be sure we get these things done. It's really going to be helpful in the overall relationship.
Yeah. And then also to go to counseling or mentoringship.
Yeah.
From a couple like us. Right. A married couple, happily married
couple.
So if you are struggling to communicate or resolve the issues in your relationship, consider a third party. Now, we said counseling, so make sure that counselor, they themselves are married, but I would encourage you to have a married man counselor. And so a third party can help you to understand each other better and develop communication and problem skills.
Yeah, we always say vet your counselor.
Yep.
please vet your counselor. We always say that, and we will continue saying that because it's really important when you're getting your advice from somebody, especially any type of thing dealing with your relationship. If you want to have a happy, healthy relationship, you want to get advice from somebody who is also having a happy, healthy relationship, because they'll be able to offer advice from that state of alignment. You don't want to get aligned with somebody who is not getting the results that you want. It's not going to work out. Chances are you're going to just get the results they have. So really be sure to vet that third party. And our last thing.
Yep. Number 7, make changes.
Yeah.
So if you both are willing to make changes, you can save your relationship from roommate syndrome. So being willing to compromise. So be mindful of your communication. So make sure the communication with each other is clear and respectful. Avoid using sarcasms or hurtful language.
Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, for sure. I think overall, these are important just to, when we say be mindful, these are paying attention to, is this something that I may need to change within our relationship, or is this something that we're lacking? Because this is really going to help you figure out that underlying issue of why you all are starting to feel like roommates and not so much, actually lovers.
Love mates.
Love mates.
So be mindful of your actions. Make sure your actions are consistent with your words.
Yeah.
So if you say you love your spouse, show them through actions. So if you agree to compromise and resolve something, then show it through your actions. Don't do those things again.
If you agree to not yell at each other or be hurtful when you have arguments, do it, especially in those moments where it comes up. Look at it as a light bulb moment. Oh, we're in the midst of an argument. This is my opportunity to show my actions when I said that, hey, I'm not going to cuss you out no more. I ain't going to do it, doing those things. It really matters.
Yep. Care. Be intentional.
Yeah.
So be mindful of your expectations. So be realistic about your expectations for your spouse and your relationship. So don't accept your spouse to be perfect.
Don't expect them. Yeah.
Don't expect. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Nobody's perfect. It's not going to happen. You just got to, we always say your spouse, the way you meet them, that is who they're going to be. You're going to hope, of course, that they grow and, hopefully evolve into an even better person. But be okay with who your spouse is the moment you get with them and the moment you decide you're going to marry them. Don't try to go into your relationship thinking that, you can change them or expecting them to be something that they never showed you that they were. Please be sure to love your spouse for who they are and know who you're getting in that relationship with. So then that way you're not over here like, oh, why did I get with this person?
Showing regret. Signs of regret. Yep. And also you yourself be intentional about your relationship as well.
Yeah.
There's no reneging. That's what I mean. So you can't go back.
Right. So certainly after you marry your spouse. Yeah. Once you marry them, that's them. Don't try to get them to change. Like, that is them. Leave that. Let them be them. Love them for them. And if you can't love them for them, that's probably not the spouse for you.
Right. And then also so you hold accountability for yourself for not using discernment. Because they showed you all those signs in the beginning, but still you chose to be with them.
Yeah, because people do. I honestly think people do. And that's why we say, live with your spouse. Religious people will probably not so much agree with us on this point, but I stand on it. You really should live with your spouse before you marry them. There's no way that you're going to know the person that you get into your relationship with until you start living with them. A person can put on a front for however long they ain't living with you. But the moment you there, from the time they wake up to the time they go to bed, consistently for a good amount of time, you will know really who they are. And if that's genuinely, how they are, they can be really putting on a front, and you set yourself up, because you don't do your due diligence. And that means living with that spouse to make sure that they're who who they say they are and who you expect them to be, pretty much.
Be mindful of your own needs. So take care of your own needs so that you can be a better spouse. So make sure you are getting enough sleep, healthy eating, and exercising as well, and drinking your water.
Yeah, getting those checkups.
Definitely check out.
Yeah, checkups in the sense of making, looking at your vitamin levels and making sure that you are overall very healthy person, mind, body, and spirit. This may mean
Heart
even
health.
yeah, or even like mental health too. If you feel like you're going through a tough time, being able to reach out to a therapist if you actually need, some third-party help with that. That's okay too. We really have to normalize getting help when you need the help. Don't try to solve all your problems by yourself, especially if it's not working, especially if you can't actually pinpoint what's going on, or you're in some like delusion.
And also too spiritual health.
Yeah.
So those people out there, I mean, not to be funny or anything, but some people act like they need an exorcism. So
No.
you have to check in on those people and make sure they get some sort of spiritual help as well.
Yeah, cleanse that aura. Keep your vibrations high and clean, and
buy some sage. And...
right. Go outside, hug a tree, ground yourself, take your shoes off, ground yourself, step on Mother Earth so you can transfer that energy. That is real. That is a real thing. We joke, but it is a real thing. Please make sure to take care of yourself mentally, spiritually, physically, all of that.
Yeah. And be mindful of your spouse's needs as well as your own.
Yeah.
And be intentional about that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Checking up on them, making sure they're okay, and if they need anything, and their mental health as well, and their well-being. So
yeah, ask each other, do that, make that a habit. That's something that we have consistently practiced throughout our whole relationship, and I really think that just adds to the dynamic of us being of service to each other. We take the time to ask each other, do you need anything? What's up? Can I help you with something today? How you feeling? Doing that every day, that is a big thing, because every day is different, and sometimes your spouse can be going through something and you don't even know it because you're not even taking the time to ask them or connect with them. So man or woman, just really making sure to be mindful of your spouse's needs. It's really important.
Yeah. So by making these changes, you can help to overcome roommate syndrome and create more romantic and uplifting relationship.
Yes. Yeah. I think that was pretty much that's about the best I can think for us to give this guy going through this roommate situation. It's common. It's not uncommon, unfortunately, but it's one of those things where you just got to be willing to do the work. You already off to a great start because you first recognize that there's a problem. I always say if you live in an illusion, you would never know that there's a problem, and that's even worse. So
I think this is more so common for young people who are not yet, especially guys who are not yet providers in relationships. And the young lady that they're dating didn't use any discernment either in understanding that this guy is not a provider for me and my expectations are not being met, nor did they talk about what those expectations are.
Yeah.
So for those people who may be finding themselves in this type of relationship, please share this video with them as well so that they can get a heads up and clarity about what may be taking place in their lives.
Yeah, that's a good point too, because how you kind of go into the whole thing will really help. Like if the woman is moving the guy in with her, yeah, that's certainly going to create.
And while she's paying all the bills, I ain't going to cut you off.
No, yeah.
She thought that she was going to go 50-50 with this guy, and he doesn't have 50. He has 25. And so she got 75, and she didn't even ask or what the expectations were. He just moved in because he didn't want to be homeless. So that is a thing now. You all have to use discernment and work together and be discerning about your decisions on who you allow into your lives.
Yeah.
So be careful.
And how you start your relationship, starting it off on good footing first.
Right. And
having those conversations.
And I know I know financially times are getting harder. So don't make finance the number one reason why you're getting involved with someone.
Yeah.
Because especially if you're dating your peers, that person is financially more than likely probably financially unfit just as much as you are.
Right.
So don't expect that they're going to come in and fix all of your financial issues.
Yeah.
And even if they are financially fit, don't even think that they're going to come in and fix all your financial issues. Talk about it. Don't have these silent expectations.
Yeah.
That will cripple you or make you upset in the long run because you didn't expect the relationship to go this way.
Yeah.
So, have the basis of love and open communication first, I would say, and then discuss finances and set goals and barriers around that.
Yeah.
And then you all will be all right. Because
Yeah.
times are getting harder and harder financially just to have a roof over your head. So,
Yeah, some people are really going through it. So yeah, you can see that where people would more so, try to get into a relationship just on the aspect of, oh, I need a roommate. And intentions really matter. What is your motivations behind why you're pursuing this person, man or woman? So,
bills, bills. Be
yeah,
honest, be honest with yourselves. How many of you all looking for someone to pay your bills? You know,
yeah,
that's the wrong mindset to have to enter the relationship. It's very materialistic. And often the times what it's going to do is lead you in disappointment. Because once
yeah,
this person find out that, they're no longer getting sex when they want it or whatever the case may be, you're no longer home as much as you used to be. And you're out there spending money because you're stressed out and want to have a good time and always complaining about money. That relationship is doomed to fail.
yeah,
So be mindful of these things
yeah.
as you all, continue to grow and learn along with us. So
Right. Yeah, for sure, for sure.
those are some jewels that we're dropping right there.
Yeah, this isn't something that's hard to overcome. I think the guy, like he's saying, you can feel, he says it feels quite,
It
uneasy.
it all depends on what he has to overcome. Now I
Yeah,
threw infidelity in there earlier.
right.
Now
The
for him,
underlying issues.
right,
Yeah,
that'd be wild if his wife was having an affair with someone else for over 10 years or within 3 years or 2 years or 1 year,
yeah,
and that's the reason why they're actually falling apart, and it goes silent, not being spoken about, and he has no clue of it.
yeah,
So that'll be devastating to him. That'll be hard for him to get over, but it's still the same steps in which he will have to take in order to see if they can recover and move on with that relationship after 10 years.
yeah.
But if it's something else, maybe something that's more about attractiveness and things like that, they can do things to change that.
Maybe kids, like we said,
Time.
Yeah,
Yeah, they don't
kids
have enough
times.
time.
It's a. He didn't list any reasons per se.
Looks.
Mm-hmm.
That's his only look, I think. Maybe he
Yeah,
packed on pounds and but it feels uneasy sometimes to view my spouse this way. Or he's not he's also saying that too about her. So that's really what it is, I think. It's just attractiveness, physical attractiveness. Because I've heard something that a guy is attracted to what he came into the relationship with. So that type of female that you originally were, and that is what he's attracted to. Of course, youth fades.
yeah. Expectations.
Right.
Everybody has to be realistic about the expectations. And even too, after you having children, your body is going to change after you have children. It's not going to be the same. So
As you get older
being
too.
aware, being aware of that and being okay with that.
Mhm.
This is your spouse, especially when you're married. This is who you're supposed to be with, like for a lifetime. Yeah,
Unconditional love.
unconditionally. Yeah, for a lifetime. And that's important to be okay with that and, feel taking those steps. If you do feel uneasy and you feel like something is changing, then taking those steps to actually get things back the way you want them to be. If it's something about attractiveness, maybe do things together that can help you all lose weight, eat healthier, different things that will actually make changing enjoyable, or a way that you all can spend time together, growing closer together. I've heard of couples who have done the whole weight loss journey together and they gotten closer. That's a beautiful thing. We also hear the other side of it, but yeah, it is what it is. It's really about intentions and whether or not you're committed to this relationship and you're willing to do the work that it's going to take to get things back onto the good romantic side of things. And, with him saying, I'm not quite sure if we've ever actually been romantic, then in my opinion, that means that you got a lot more work to do, because it means you guys never really fell into the routine of building that intimacy with each other. It should be something that's, natural, something that you come to expect, something that you do naturally for each other because you've always done them. And that's always what keeps you together. You got to keep doing those things, no matter if you've been together 2 years or 30 years. Those things matter, and that's what's going to keep you close together. So be okay with that. Really do the work. And I think everything would be fine. This isn't one of those big situations at all.
No, it all depends
depending,
on
like you said, what the underlying issue is.
Right.
Yeah.
Because roommate syndrome, that could be a lot of things. Like you could have been deceived in your relationship, and this person just really wanted a roommate, and you thought that you was about to, come into a relationship. That's one reason why I don't encourage guys to move in with females.
Right.
And well, it is a safe bet to more so it's safer if you all are engaged before you all actually move in together. But often at times you got to take steps towards that to see if you can all actually make it.
Yeah.
But with that being said, are there any questions, concerns, conundrums?
Let me see. Hey, Instagram, Full On House tonight. Thank you all for joining us. Again, we missed y'all on Friday. We were really trying to get that YouTube thing to link in, and last minute we was like, we're just gonna put it on the screen.
I mean, well, there really isn't no way unless anybody knows.
Yeah.
And because Instagram is so proprietary, it only cast on Instagram. It doesn't share the viewership with any other platforms.
Right. But our next one, we decided we're just gonna do Instagram and screencast it because we're gonna have another collaboration coming up, and also too, if you are interested in collaborating with us, whether that's
don't be shy.
Submitting a question or topics. We cover topics, any type of topics, questions. wifeconomics.com/submit a question. It's an anonymous, secure website. You can submit a question and just we'll come up with our own little topic to cover it. That's the best way. You can also send us. We've had DMs and the Facebook messages and stuff like that. So there's lots of ways that you can get your problem to us that doesn't have to be so much, out in front of everybody if you're not that brave. But, we always encourage that as well, because it's what we look to do with this overall is be able to provide that platform for us to learn from experiences of not only us, but other couples, happy couples, other couples that things haven't worked, how to learn from their mistakes and not make the same mistakes, and just really creating this overall shared platform of where we're learning and growing with each other. So don't be afraid to join on the conversation. Yep. Let me check Facebook and Instagram. I don't know. I can't see. It's like this. Hand pink. Oh, the thing doesn't show. Does it show up on the screen? Nope. It just says like hand pink, wave, hand purple, peace.
Yep. So with that being said, Blueprint family, thank you all for joining us tonight. Same time, same place tomorrow night. Don't forget to leave, like I said, comments. If you have any comments, for those people who are shy, go to www.wifeconomics.com/submit a question. So we can get those topics in here. So with that being said, Blueprint family, thank you all for joining us tonight. I hope you all have a wonderful week. So peace.